G'day fellow creatures of the internet, this is the most mostly and subscriber going here on YouTube, Bruzo Dragonius, or perhaps online ambassador of Blackmarsh. We knew it, that there is conventions that is going on or returning back in 2021, even though that this pandemic is pretty much nearly over. Over or even that to have these conventions on. And as we all know, that there's two conventions that is on in Australia, which is Australians only, called Fursuit and Furry Out West. But the reason why I'm doing the video of this topic is because that, people might need some reminders of this rule of cosplay is not consent. As you all know, the rule of cosplay does not equal consent means what it is. Cosplay does not give you automatic permission to do whatever. This rule is the number one rule for every single convention that you go to. Whether it's cosplay conventions, whether it's anime conventions, whether it's comic book conventions, whether it's game conventions, hell, even furry conventions. And that is the one rule that everyone should follow, otherwise there is some sort of repercussions, I should say, that lead up to it, which could pretty much would mean that someone or the perpetrator might, if you don't follow this rule, you might either be banned from the convention or being asked to leave, or number two, it would involve the cops, and at the end, you, as a perp, would be in trouble and perhaps possibly being arrested, and also either going to jail or whatever, or end up having an AVO, or probably in America, Australia going to hold out against. And let me give you some examples of what do I mean cosplay does not equal consent. Well, let's put it this way. Whether it's a cosplay in a skimpy outfit, like say with Sailor Moon or Harley Quinn or whatever, whether it's someone in a pub gear, I know that there's some other fetish conventions out there in the world that I'm not even going to touch with a 10-foot pole. And whether it's in a fursuit. And it goes for many other examples. Example number one. In cosplay conventions, you would have seen some cosplayers cosplaying as either Sailor Moon or Harley Quinn at an anime convention. And they're cosplaying a more, how can I say, overly sexualized version of it, like with the bikinis, with the whole lot, and can be very, very revealing. You see, with that sort of rule, with cosplay that is concerned, it's so people can actually dress up as something that they love and feel comfortable doing. And that goes for everyone. So, back with the skimpy outfits, I'm not going to, put them in the video and all that kind of stuff because it's PG, right? Because I want this as PG as possible. But there are some times when people would end up being creepy around these cosplayers and that, whether it's groping and all that kind of stuff, whether it's touching, the private parts and all that kind of stuff. That is considered as sexual harassment. And to that, it is against the law. Okay? No ifs or buts. Okay? And yeah, you may have a bit of a sexual attraction to whatever character that the person's cosplaying as. Maybe that you like the person's body, But that still doesn't give you consent to make the person feel very uncomfortable by doing these sexual harassment type deeds, I should say. Same with people in fursuits, because the fact being is that people dressing up in fursuits, whether it's someone in a mascot costume, whether it's someone in a fursuit, and all that kind of stuff, you got to realize that someone is in this costume. If not most, always likely that there is a person in these fursuits. And as I do know that fursuits or any of these mascot costumes can not only conceal someone's face, but also conceal someone's gender. You know, what if there's a male character that is cosplayed by a female character in that fursuit? You know, or probably cross-dressing and all that kind of stuff. You know, what if there's, for instance, if you see someone with a thick digigrade fursuit or even a drop crotch, and I'm talking about those drop crotches where the belly just ends up ending right in the legs, you know. There's some certain areas that performing these costumes would much rather you touch. You know, like you wouldn't touch someone with the groin, you know, if it's out of the costume. But like I said, so why would you do it when someone is in there? And there's some other things. If you don't do one thing to a person that is outside a fursuit, sometimes it shouldn't be any different when someone is in the fursuit, you know. You got to be careful because, you know, and not to mention that even with photographers as well, and even with video and all that kind of stuff, because there's some cosplayers that doesn't like their human forms to be shown, you know. And maybe that someone was going out there taking a break or whatever, you know, you let them. And that comes with photos, being in videos, and that if you want to hug a fursuiter, we most likely would say yes. Okay, but make sure that you ask first, especially when you're trying to have a photo with them as well. Just make sure that you ask, but we most likely will say yes as well. But it is very considerate and isn't really rude if you ask them first. That's all that we do and all that kind of stuff. Also when it comes to filming, because there's some stages that, you know, people don't like to be filmed even outside of fursuit. Like, you know, but much rather as their characters and all that kind of stuff. You know, there's some photographers that is a firm believer of Rule 31, which means that everything can be made into porn once it's out there on the internet. Okay? Maybe that someone wants them to do a sexy pose that normally the person that's their character doesn't really feel as comfortable doing it. Right? And it may not be normal for that character. But not only that, but there may be some coincidences that maybe that there's cosplayers themselves that need to, you know, need to abide by that rule anyway. Because the fact being is that some may just abuse it, like that the photographer might want them to pose what the character usually is known for and all that kind of stuff, like, you know, whether it's like a sexy type, you know, character and all that kind of stuff. So it can also be abused and all that kind of stuff. So that's all this is just what I know about the cosplays and consent rule. If you want to comment down your point of what I'm missing and all that kind of stuff, you're more than welcome to in the comment section. There may be some stories that you might want to share where someone is abusing that sort of that cosplay thing and all that kind of stuff that you wanted to share. You know, you're more than welcome to, and that maybe it happened to you and all that kind of stuff. If you do like this video, please put the thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel if you do like my content. If you want to be the first one to know, make sure you press the bell icon. The usual social media and my stores or ways to give me money or something like that is on the description below, as with the usual kind of stuff. If you want to friend me on PSN and all that kind of stuff, or if you want to game with me or whatever, my gamer tag is Bruzo 21. And I just wanted to say thank you for watching this. You're all amazing. Also, you're amazing if you're one of my new subscribers. I love you, each and every one of you. You know, if you're subscribed, even if you do watch this video, thank you. I love you, and like I said, This is the most must-see and subscribed Argonian on YouTube or online in Vessel Black Marsh. Bruzo Dragonius, signing off by saying, may His guide you all. Bye for now.